Good morning. I am No Sweat. It is November 15th, 2025 on a cloudy day in November here in Kentucky. A little bit warmer than it normally is, thank heavens. And my grandson and I, Lance, have decided to shoot another video. I hope you like it. We're again shooting with his underwater camera, and it's the second video he's ever shot. So bear with us if there's many mistakes. We're new at it with this particular camera. My main objective today is not to talk so much. It's going to be to show the birds. I think too many videos, there's some guy talking all the time, explaining to you everything, and being kind of, it gets old. So what I want to do is show the birds. I want to show my family of pigeons what a person who's molded a large group of pigeons and has molded them into a unit. I want to show you what a family looks like. I don't think there's very few people in the United States that really have a large family of pigeons that are all almost very close in appearance and so many other things. We'll get into that later. Come on into, this is my office, my elaborate office. It's built in a container that we brought down out of Ohio. Every morning, you know, I'm 75 years old, and you have to start off with the breakfast of champions. And here in Kentucky, this is how I've reached being 75 years old and as healthy and as good looking and as smart and handsome and humble as I am. We drink L8s every morning. It's not got any alcohol in it. It is a regional drink, and it'll get you going. And of course, we drink L8 and we eat our Grippos. That's what made me the man I am. Make sure you drink a 6-pack of L8 every morning and eat a big giant bag of Grippos, and you'll live to be a ripe old man just like I am, full of vim and vigor. As we come on through here, I've had you all on this tour before. This is kind of an area where when I'm shipping pigeons to people from all over the United States and all over the world, shipping them to Taiwan, to China, to Japan, Puerto Rico, Canada, Mexico, all over Europe, Africa, and different places all over the world. Almost every state in the Union I've shipped birds to, and I'm very proud of that, to have the Sions that much infiltrated, something that'll live long past after me. These are a few of the show cages that I put them in here a lot of times just to check out birds or to get them used to each other. This trap up here, this is a crab trap that my friend down in the Keys gave me. These are shipping crates. As you all know, you've seen all those shipping crates before. They've gotten to be ridiculously expensive. And these are crates I make myself. You'll see, since I videoed last time, there's been something that's happened to me that's been fantastic, and that is that I am now in the Hall of Fame, and the American Racing Pigeon Union inducted me into the Hall of Fame at their convention in Chicago this year. It's an honor that I greatly cherish and I'm extremely proud of. You know, I've won best at the National Racing Pigeon Show when it used to be a major show in New York, in White Plains. I won that 3 times. I won the biggest show in the United States 7 straight times in the SRPA Dixie Show, you know, the Southern Racing Pigeon Association show, back when it actually had more birds than any show, always in the unflown classes. And my birds were also winning in the flown classes, being shown by other people, Bill Mitchell and others. And so I was winning on both sides at the SRPA show. And I won the National Young Bird Show 4 times. I judged all these shows, and so that's just part of the show game. As far as racing, you know, my birds have scored in the top 100 several times in the South Africa race. I did very well Victoria Falls race. I led the entire United States the last time that I flew in Victoria Falls on points, with the great competitor Mike Gaines coming in second behind me. And Mike also this year was awarded the Hall of Fame. I'm proud to be having received that award at the same time that Mike did. And So anyways, I take these crates like this, which I have some friends that have a Mexican restaurant here, and I customize them and do that. Rest of it, it's just pretty plain to see. You know, it's odd and stuff that you need on an everyday operation with pigeons. Let's move on out here. I don't want to talk about this all day long. There's some wicker baskets. All these baskets here came from Charles Heitzman. And you'll see here a little article about me winning or being given the Hall of Fame award. There was an original letter I got from the president from the American Racing Pigeon Union, which I thought it was a bill. You know, when I opened it up, I was like, oh no, what I owe them now? And I knew I owed money for some bands, and I thought I must owe $100 for some bands. But it was that, and I was flabbergasted. And then there's two different articles that came out in the Richmond newspaper. It was on the front page, and in the local newspaper of my hometown, another article about me in there too as well, about me receiving the Hall of Fame award. So, needless to say, I'm extremely proud of that. Most of the pictures you'll see, you know, if you go on my website, which has had 5 million hits, if you see on my website, almost all the pictures that I've taken on that website have been done with a little Nikon camera like this. It's my underwater camera. I shoot thousands and thousands of pictures underwater every year, and I'm working on a book where I'm putting underwater pictures together. It's unlike any other book that I've ever seen. It's a sort of an impressionistic photography. Where I do a lot of editing, where it's sort of like Van Gogh and Picasso got together one night and had a drink and decided they were going to paint a fish. And that's the kind of work that I'm doing right now with underwater photography. Underwater photography is more complicated than above ground photography. I'm ready to go. Here's Lance's. After he eats his grippos, then he goes to his dinner snack. That's his Mingo jerky. He has to have that in order to perform well. Let me have a drink of this thing. Oh yeah. Now you have to try this L8 in order to appreciate it. But it came out in 1926 in Winchester. Hit the spot. I'm ready to shoot a video now. Oh my goodness. You'll see up here, no sweat. And the no sweat logo's out, and I can talk to you a long time about my name. No sweat, where those two words came from, actually, the first time they were ever used in the English language. There's a picture of 129 there. This hen, I took her 50 miles first toss. 3 weeks later, I took her 500 miles. There's only 2 tosses she ever went on. One 50-mile toss, 3 weeks later, 500-mile toss down in below Florida. She was my first bird back, and her sister came back about a half hour after she did, her nestmate. And she was raised out of my red pair. All 4 of her grandparents flew 600 miles as young birds. None of them on the day, but all of them on the second day. So let's journey on, and we're going to look at the birds this morning. I love watching the birds in the morning time because it's, you know, just coming down off the roost. Shouldn't be having any birds mated this time of the year, but I've got 3 pair. Summertime's got 1 baby, and I got 2 other pair of blue bars that have got 2 babies each. But everything else, I'm not letting any birds, because it's this time of the year. You really don't want to mate your birds until really about 3 weeks from now. It's when you want to put the birds together. And so if you want to get early hatches. Here we are again. We've done some new brickwork here. We've done some lattice work. We're at the loft where I keep my reds, primarily my reds. And over on the other side of this loft, mostly my silvers. I'm going to continue here. This is a lifelong going on project to improve this property. You'll see down through here, I've got 5 acres of land. It goes all out through here. And I'm turning this into a wildlife sanctuary. Nothing is to be mowed or dealt with at all for the rest of my life. Hopefully, I'm going on 75 years old. I'm hopefully that I can see the next 25 years of it. It does. I'm turning this into a forest all around the lofts. I'll have it mowed and a road that comes right up into the lofts. It comes around, but the lofts are going to be surrounded by my trees and nature. I'll have groundhogs and everything else that comes with it here, which is fine. And we all complain about all the different critters, particularly Cooper hawks. But I've learned to live with them. That's how you have to deal with it. You have to learn to live with them. So I have to learn to live within the law. Okay, we're going to go into the red loft. And we've started a new loft. This is the 5th loft. A gentleman came down from Wisconsin named Neil. Fantastic person, a very quiet person, but a professional carpenter if there ever was one. And something I badly needed. I've had this loft as sort of a dream loft. It's in process, but it's gotten very near completion. It's going to have, of course, I'll clean all this glass off, but this is going to have a glass wall to it. I'm not sure I've ever seen a pigeon loft that's had, and I'm calling it the Ice Palace. It's going to have a glass wall here. The aviary's going to come out straight out. It's going to be, the bottom of the aviary is going to be this high. It's going to come out about that far, and it's going to have a slope roof to it. It's going to be a loft that I'm going to fly young birds out of. I'm going to go back to flying my young birds. I flew them every year, 500 miles, 600 miles, and 4 times 700 miles. And all 4 times I got birds back from 700 miles. The quickest I ever got birds back from 700 miles was 3 days. And I got 4 birds back in 3 days one time. And the worst out, I think I had one to come back in 2 weeks. So it ranged anywhere worse than 3 days to 2 weeks to get birds back from 700 miles. And you're going to lose almost every bird you take down. So, but the birds you get back are worth their weight in gold. So, and that's what I look for. Come on, we'll walk inside. I'm going to show you. It's a. Come on around this way. It's a new loft. It's in progress. I don't want to spend a lot of time in here, but I just want to show you a new loft that's being made. Like I said, I'm really proud of it. You know, as a little boy, I've been straightened out nails and found lumber where I could get it and nailed it together like a tree house. This thing is fabulous. And the way it's all been built, 3/4 inch treated plywood floors, and the house this is built like a house. It's solid as it can possibly be. It is going to be a fabulous flying loft. I'm going to have all the walls solid roost. They're going to be box roost on all 4 walls. They won't start until about 3.5 feet up from here to the ceiling. The middle part is 10 foot tall all the way through the loft, exactly the way I want it. I want the loft to be high and tall. As far as ventilation, it's going to have, this whole front of the loft is going to be open. And so it's going to have, you're going to have a huge aviary here. And so the birds will be able to fly in. The face is dead west. So as the sun's going down and getting those birds coming back off 500 and 600 miles, you're going to be flying late. So they'll be coming in and landing here. Coming in off 500 and 600 miles, young birds will be that last, here in Kentucky especially, it's hard to get birds back on the day from 500 and 600 miles. Very hard. I've never had a 600 mile day bird. I've had a lot of 500 mile day birds. Not tons of them, but I've had them. And when the young birds, it makes it very hard. And like I said, my 700 mile young birds, which that's world record long distances, in case anybody's interested. Get a young bird back from 700 miles is extremely difficult. And you don't realize just how far that is until you yourself get in your car and drive close to 1,000 miles, 900 miles away to let those birds go. Then as you're driving back, you're thinking, my heavens, these birds are having to come back all this distance that I drove. And then it starts to really register in your head what a fantastic pigeon bird it takes to come home. I fly those birds those long distances because I want to be better than anybody else in the United States or in the world, because nobody else flies young birds 600 and 700 miles. And the reason why, because they know they'll lose them. It's that simple. Well, here we are in the what I call the red loft. This red loft is about 20 something feet by 8 feet wide, and about 9.5 feet tall. So it's a pretty good sized room. You'll see I've got all these roost nests, all of that through the top. The birds absolutely love them. Again, I've stressed to so many people, when you build a pigeon loft or create a pigeon loft, don't build a pigeon loft like everybody else does and think like everybody else does and build a loft that's for you. Build a loft that makes the birds happy. All birds love open space and freedom. We all know that. And that's what they have in this loft. Open space and freedom. Happy birds make healthy birds. That simple. If I was a bird and you gave me a little room to stay in versus having this freedom here to fly around in, which loft do you think would make me happiest? I want to show you this family of reds. These all go back on to Charles Heitzman's original pair that he got from Lou Curtis. His original pair, both of them, he actually did come from Lou Curtis, 1033 and 1104, two red checks. Neither one of them was as nice as these birds. If you will look carefully at these pigeons, first thing you look at when you see a pigeon are the faces. And look at the faces of this collection of reds. You'll see most of them are red velvets. There's variation of red velvets. A few of them have lighter colored heads. And some of them are darker red. Some of them have more of a red undercarriage. We're just talking strictly about color right now. The sizes of all these birds are pretty much the same. I don't really have what I call a large pigeon in here, and I really don't have what you would call a small pigeon in here. These are all medium small to medium large and medium birds. Every pigeon in here. They all have a soft feather. There's a lot of variation in the eyes of these pigeons when you see them. I do have a lot of the Sions here that are the black-eyed Sions that Paul Sion loves so well. But they're not black eyes at all. The darkest colored eyes are one of two versions. They're either chestnut eyes, dark brown eyes, or they are a dark violet eye. And if you look at the eyes carefully in good light, you'll see that's the color eye. They're not black at all, but they do appear black, in lights. Uh, that's a classic Sion with the powdered head up there. And that red check you see up there in the top left-hand corner. He's the only unbanded pigeon I've got in my anywhere right now. But he's a fabulous pigeon. Classic Sion. Uh, if you walked into Charles Heitzman's loft, you would have seen 100 red checks that were identical to him. But I have been able to take, if you look how close and tight all these pigeons are. And you'll see that I don't have the greatest pigeon roost and perches and stuff. These are two old sawhorses being thrown away. I got them out of the garbage. The first thing I think, I'm like most pigeon guys, especially guys that have pigeons going on 70 years. My brain thinks pigeon all the time. Every time I see something, I think pigeon roost, pigeon cage, pigeon loft. I can make something that the pigeons will like out of that. And so I knew these pigeons would love salt. Pigeons like I don't know what it is, but they like to touch wood. Their feet touching on metal is one thing. Their feet touching on wood. But I just have been around pigeons so long and watched them so long. They love wood, and Charles Heitzman talked about that. They really do love wood, and ideally, if you've got wood roost and a wood loft, there's just something about pigeons and wood that they really do love. But I don't want to go back catching the birds right now. I can catch any of these birds at any time, but I'm just wanting to show you the type. I want you to come on in here as close as you can on some of them, Lance. You'll see two blue bars out here. They'll birth out of summertime and the Maltese falcon. And they're full brother and sister, and I have them mated together. I want to keep that blood particularly. I may break summertime up this year, but if I do, I'll have the blood 100%. Mating two a brother and sister together, there's absolutely nothing wrong in doing that. I was friends with Ed Lorenz, and Ed Lorenz's best pigeon was out of a brother-sister mating. I know a lot of people, some of the best birds they ever bred were out of brother-sister mating. If you mate two birds together like that, yeah, you get 100% the same blood, but there's going to be a lot of differences in each one of the individual birds, and then it's up to you to selectively breed which pigeon that you want. There's a beautiful cockbird right there. A lot of these birds here, almost every pigeon in here, if it hasn't flown itself, the older ones have, but if it's one of the this year's birds, a blue-banded bird, then it's probably got all 4 grandparents that have flown 500 or 600 miles. All your pigeons can fly 100, 150, and 200 miles. I mean, they're gregarious by nature. They fly together. It's a survival tactic. It's evolved over millions of years, just like fish being in a school. So, and they follow each other. There's so many different things. I wouldn't get too excited about a pigeon that's won a 200-mile race or a 150-mile race. It doesn't mean much. But when you start getting birds that come back, when they start winning 500 miles, 600 miles, 700 miles, then you've got some good birds, got a good homing instinct. People ask me, oh, I want you to discuss wing. I want you to discuss this and that. And I can talk about wings all day long. I love to talk about wings. Heisman talked about wings. But we got to get back to basics anytime you talk about pigeons at all. And that is, if they don't have a homing instinct, there's no use talking about wings. If they don't have a good homing instinct, there's no use talking about anything, any particular feature, eye sign, or anything else about a pigeon. If they don't have the homing instinct, that's first and crucial. And the way you find that is with long distance. So you start there, and then you can start to develop wings and stuff. What you'll see here in this is kind of a lackadaisical setup. The pigeons absolutely love it. Look how healthy and look how typey these birds are. I very rarely ever have any injury or any bird ever go bad on me in any way at all. These birds are extremely healthy pigeons. And it's been because of a lifetime of giving them no medications. As far as being resistant to diseases and stuff, if you have to give something medicine all the time, its resistance is going to be not as good as one that you didn't give medicine to all the time. Natural versus unnatural. Come on. In this loft here, you'll see a difference in colors. I have some silvers and my blues and reds together here. What happened in this particular loft, and you'll see there's a lot of 2024 young birds in here, all the blue bands. Almost all these birds that Lance is shooting right now. The silvers that you see are down out of either a silver cock that I had that was 300 or a silver mealy cock that was kind of ugly named Hardcore. And both of those were 600-mile birds. And Hardcore, of course, I've talked about him so many times, but Hardcore was my first bird back from 600 miles as a young bird. And he came back on the second day early in the morning by himself. And that was back when I tossed the birds many times. Now when I take the birds out, I try to cut down on as many times I take them out. But Hardcore probably flew about at least 8 different times. 100 miles, 200 miles, 300 miles, 400 miles, that kind of stuff, before he flew back from 600 miles. He was well trained, that pigeon was, and consistently came back. He was coming back with 3 light red check cocks that came, and I kept thinking it was the red check cocks that were bringing him home. I wasn't paying any attention to him, his little bitty silver cock. But when I took him 600 miles, and he came by himself, and I realized he was the best bird. And again, that long distance took him. That little blue hen up there is possibly the best breeding pigeon I have. Her name's Tuff. She's got a little feather that comes up on the back of her head. That's why I call her Tuff. I've got 2 babies out of Tuff this year that are flying in the biggest race in the United States in Miami, the Florida Derby. Looks like a gentleman down there named Brito. He's got a class operation down there. Looks like it's second to none. They had close to 9,000 pigeons in that being entered in it. And I think they settled out close to about 8,000 birds. He's getting them settled and they pulled flights, and they've been doing a whole lot of stuff going on right now. They've taken them out for open loft fly about a dozen times. I've got JW and I've got 11 pigeons entered down there. Silvers, there's a couple of needles. Heisman love silvers. This was the best son I raised out of a girl I call a silver hen I call classic sim. Beautiful, beautiful wing. I'll get into talking about wings. how much how important it is to have coverage and back here in the covers, what that relates to in flight, then also about the distance, about how long and relative to the body that a wing should be, and also the shape of the feathers themselves, conducive to flying, particularly for long distance. When you're flying in nature, wings, people who ornithologists, this bird, he handles like a dream. Oh my goodness, he's such good. Come on out here and shoot. But in nature, when you talk about wings, you've got certain birds that are like terns and swifts and falcons. They have narrow flights and narrow wings, pointed wings, and they're for very fast, quick flights. Then you'll have birds that are like ducks, and they'll fly long distances, and you'll see the way their wings are shaped is just slightly different. There's a little more lift in the back of their wing to keep them elevated for a longer time. And when you start talking about certain birds like hawks and eagles, you'll see that the primary feathers are more separated than out on the end than most of your other faster flying birds. That's also to keep them being able to have a lift more. It's not for flying long distances at a steady rate. So you've got to keep all that in mind when you're talking about wings. You want a wing that's got coverage, but you also want a wing that's long and comes out to a very good point in order for a good long distance wing. And it needs to be relative again to the body. Most of the birds that I've had that's flown long distances have been medium to medium small pigeons, particularly hens. A small hen, a medium small hen, that's in perfect condition is always a dangerous bird or an excellent bird to have to fly a long distance. Again, you've got this loft. It's not set up like probably any loft you've ever walked into. The rooster up high. Lance and I, we climb up here on ladders to check the eggs and babies. We write notes down on stuff. We keep note cards. There's some old ones here on who the parents are when we banded the babies. I don't think you can walk into any pigeon loft in the United States, in the world, and see a group of Sions, true, pure old Sions, that are genuine Sions, not a bunch of horse manure. Like these. Come here, baby. Come on out. I don't keep any birds that are wild. Environment and genetics go hand in hand on the disposition of a bird, the way it, whether it's tame or wild or not. And you'll see I have a lot of open space here. There's pigeons that I've walked into people's lofts, they'd be flying against this aviary right now, knocking their brains out. If I had a pigeon like that right now, it wouldn't be in here. I don't keep birds like that. Good pigeon guys shouldn't keep birds like that. This container, what we did was we cut out a wall. I had a gentleman from Cuba that has a body shop over in Lexington, Cuba Body Shop. He was locked up in Guantanamo Bay twice. I love to hear him tell his stories. We cut the wall out of the container and folded it over. Had to be careful the way we did it on the side so we didn't break it off. And we used that as the floor of the aviary. This is the wall of the container, is the floor of the aviary. And then we added these dog kennels or these aviaries to it. And I've doubled and tripled wire out across of it to be able to keep the Cooper hawks from diving down on these birds. When I first put it up, I had 4 or 5 birds that got killed by Cooper hawks through the wire. But I've got it fixed now. I haven't had any birds killed by a Cooper hawk or anything else. I'm going on through starting my 3rd year at the loft at this new place. But it's a slow go. It takes time. I was trying to explain to you why I had the different colors in here. I had 3 pair of blue bars breeders in here. And I was using their babies to fly in the Florida Derby, the biggest race in the United States. And then I have some of their babies are in here, and also some of the birds that I had picked out possibly to take to the National Young Bird Show to show, and I decided it wasn't worth my time to go down there. It's not. It is what it is, and but I didn't want to show any birds, so I had taken a few of the babies that I thought would be good. I brought them over on this side. I was going to let Lance take them down there and show them and stuff, but it's not worth our time to do that. I'm not interested in shows. I'm interested in racing. I'm interested in long distance. And I'm interested in competing in the best races in the United States and in the world. That's where my heart is at. You'll see that mealy cock over here, Lance, if you can zoom in on him. That strawberry mealy. He's the only heavy strawberry mealy I've got. I've got 3 mealies altogether, and he's one of them. His father's a mealy, but a real light colored mealy. And he raised a mealy just over in that corner this year. All of them extremely nice. I've had a world of people want to buy him, but I don't want to sell him. I'm going to mate him to a blue or hen this year, which I don't make mealies to blues very often. But caught one of my red hens, this is this year's bird, 2025. And she's got, quote, the black-eyed Sion, brick red. But if you'll come in here, Lance, you'll see she actually has a chestnut eye. That's a dark chestnut eye, it's not black. Beautiful pigeon, beautiful hen. Everybody loves these pigeons, love them. And particularly just because she's soft, has a soft feather like all my reds do. And you'll see the kind of wing she has. She has more of a wing like that I breed for. That's more of a long distance wing. You don't need those big steps in the primaries that people talk about all the time. I don't know why they get off on that. I understand about lift and everything, but that's for flying steady for long distances. You really don't need that big drop. That's much more of a wing that I would look for. There's a slight drop there, but you want your feathers closer together, more like a swift. But again, none of it means anything if you don't have a bird that has a homing instinct. But again, I just want to show you chestnut eye. Heisman loved this particular eye. He liked to breed out of that eye, but he wouldn't breed 2 birds that had the same color eye. He would breed what I call a red, yellow, orange eye back into that eye. But he always admired these pigeons with that dark chestnut eye. Here we are in November. We really never decided to shoot until we've been wanting to shoot a video, but we really never made a decision on what day or anything to do it. I just said, listen, because of the way our times work out, Lance is a teacher and a swim coach and a bus monitor and does everything. Lance stays busy and I stay busy as well. And so we don't have a lot of time to shoot a video. These are all this year's birds. I don't know where you would go. I know of no place, and I'm just being quite honest about it. I know of no place that's got birds, Sions, any birds that are this beautiful. These birds are all tight vented, closed back, well balanced, extremely well bred. All have good long distance bloodlines. There is no other loft anywhere that's got the quality of these pigeons that I know of, that I've been in. I know there's people out there that's got all kinds of pigeons. But consistent birds, I've got about 235 pigeons right now in all the different lofts combined. And from the worst bird to the best bird, they're all good. This is one of my favorite pairs. There's Tuft and her mate. I'll keep that pair together. That goes back on to my best old consistent bloodlines. Those birds fly good at all distances. They're real reliable. Any babies, they come out of them. Again, I've got 2 birds out of them down in the Florida Derby this year. This old blue cock over here, he hurt his leg this year while I was in Florida, but he's fine. But he and his mate, they breed fantastic pigeons, and they go back onto my very best old blue Leroy bloodlines, Sion bloodlines. I don't plan to keep 235 birds for to go into the breeding season. I'll probably get rid of 75 of them. So I will be selling some of these birds, and I've got some birds over here in another loft that I'll show you all. another loft. This is what I call my blue bar loft. These are my Leroy's. Finest collection of blue bars and some of my very best flyers. All hardcore Sions. If you're going to fool with Sions, you're going to be fooling a lot with blue bars. And so I'm going to take you on a little tour here. This bird over on the right, he's double blue. Anytime you see one, it's got my name band on the left side. That says no sweat on it. And a blue band too. That's super special pigeon for me to breed out of without me even starting to look it up who it is. Again, look at the top. Can you see top here? See the head, see the body, see the feather. Yeah, there's variations. It's like, but it's a family. You'll see these are all just really homemade nests, nothing special. But they work fine. That bird's sitting on wooden eggs. It's a beautiful, beautiful Sion. Here, baby. See, these are wooden eggs. She's been sitting on these eggs for about 2 weeks now, so honey, they're not going to hatch. I'm sorry. Everybody loves that kind of face and this size and everything. It's classic, classic racing pigeon, but also as fine a Sion as you'll ever lay your eyes on. My Sions tend to get better and better as they get older. They'll get a little more icier to them, wattle up, but I've bred away from super heavy wattled pigeons. I love the wing on this pigeon. You'll see it's very similar to that red that I had in the way that the conformation is, of the way the spacing between the flights and the way the top of the flights are. Good back coverage back here too for lift. That's wooden eggs, wooden eggs, wooden eggs. But there are 2 babies in here, 2 little devils. They're out a snake and a black-eyed hen, which is a super, I've got people begging me for babies out of that pair, so that's why that pair is raising. Beautiful hen out in the loft. Out in the aviary, I'm sorry. I don't know why it is that people come into their lofts and so many fanciers, particularly younger fanciers. Seems like all the young fanciers today are all experts. If somebody's had birds 5 years, they're going to explain everything to you about pigeons. Or some of them had birds for 10 years, and they're going to explain to you all about pigeons, who has the best pigeons, what the best strains are, all about how to breed, how typey they are. We're working them all over into the aviary here. You're going to see about 60 birds here. That you'll never see another 60 birds this close and tight. This kind of quality from head to toe, every bird. Man, you're gonna be famous. She's a powder blue. She's a big hen, the biggest hen I've got. Oh my God, she raises such nice birds. Actually, this is her mate. They look so much alike. This is the cockbird. I thought it was her until I picked him up. This bird is a full brother to a bird I called my favorite, which was one of the best breeders I've ever owned in my life. I'm wanting this video today to really show the quality and the beauty of these long distance Sions. They're snakes. Super feathering, but on top of everything else, snake has a really unusual eye. Well, Lord have mercy, he's a quality pigeon. Whew. What you want to breed from? I call him Snake because of his eyes. I call him Snake Eyes. If you get a blue bar from me, you see what it's going to be. I'll have some of these birds I'm selling, but any baby you get is going to be a baby out of these pigeons. So you don't have to be too smart to figure what you're going to see. What you see is what you're going to get. You'll not see too many other pigeon aviaries that's covered in sticks like this. These birds happen to love it. You can come out here early in the morning in the summer or something, or about any time, and they'll be covered all over this place. Again, I tried to concentrate on what made the birds happy. Come on down. look at a lot of people's pigeons, they don't cover in the back. That's a weakness. All these pigeons are tight vented. That's a weakness. All these birds are, their structures, their body structure is all good, you know, vent and keel close together and tight, all locked up. But look again, I want to concentrate. Even the color of the blue is a certain color. I don't really have any light colored blues, and I really don't have any slaty dark colored blues. They're all a medium colored blue, an average colored blue, maybe a shade lighter than most blues. There's a lot of variation in the eyes once you get to looking at them. But it's a true family of Sions that's taken me an entire lifetime to create. Mate, I got one to go. Here's the hen. Oh, you hush. I love her more than I do him. Oh my God. I want you to look at this hen here. Get out there, man. Well, you got to see her briefly. They expected me to feed them. When they hear me whistle, look at them, they're looking at me like, yeah, I heard you whistle, where's the food? Well, you ought to get fed later. Depends on how much you go show off today. I don't have a single bird here that's not a nice pigeon. You will not believe how many times I've been through them and through them and through them and through them.
It's a great shot.
Well, these are my babies, my blues. I love my blues. Gorgeous pigeon, gorgeous. And a true family. This is a lot of line breeding, a lot of selective breeding to come up with birds like this. I've gone through thousands of pigeons in my lifetime to come up with this family of birds. I hope they represent someone who's been given the Hall of Fame award to show that I deserve it. That this is the end work of somebody who's very devoted to racing pigeons, particularly to Sions. And the Sions that I've got, they're not just saying they're Sions. These are birds that are out racing in today's biggest race. It costs $1,000 a bird to race these birds in these major races. By the time you pay the perch fee and the other fee and the shipping fees and every other thing involved and the value of the bird, you've got $1,000 for every bird that you've got tied up in those major races. And a lot of these guys that pretend like they might have a Sion, they're not going to be spending $1,000 a bird to enter them in a race because they know they're just throwing $1,000 away. I have great faith in these birds being able to do well. Generally, as the birds get a little older, they'll get a slightly bigger in size. Cock over there in the corner over with that black-eyed hen. Look how dark eyes that one little blue hen is. She's out of snake. That's this year's bird. I mated him back onto a really dark-eyed hen like that. They're dark violet eyes. They're not chestnut. And you don't see a lot of that in Sions. I've had very few of them, and then I've worked with it to where I've got I don't know, maybe 1 in 5 are black-eyed. Throughout the entire loft, out of 200 pigeons, I may have 30 birds that are black-eyed. Birds, I don't want anybody laying eggs or doing anything about an egg for about 3 weeks. Can y'all hold off? A lot of these birds in here are paired up, and a lot of the pairs I'm not going to break up. Look at this hen here. I mean, can you get a nicer pigeon than that? That's what I'm pointing at right now. Gorgeous. Just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's like an icon for a pigeon, you know, front page of a pigeon magazine, or what a pigeon should look like. And she's a Sion. You know, Sions have always been known. The hen below her is a daughter out of Chattanooga. She's the darkest colored blue I've got in here. And Chattanooga she's still got the little white tick eye. She's double banded. You'll see the little white tick behind her eye. Her mother was one of the finest racers I've ever had in my life. At 200 miles, got hit by a hawk, came back, and at 600 miles, came back as a yearling, and went on to fly 600 miles covered in oil, came back from down in the middle of Florida, back here to Kentucky. I named her Chattanooga because when she got hurt in Chattanooga. And her babies flew very well in Pennsylvania, flew very well in Texas, won some 500 and 600 mile races in Texas. That blood's been very good for me. That little blue check hen we talked about at the start, she's the grandmother of one of those, 129, that flew 50 miles and then came back 500 miles on her second talk. Chattanooga was her grandmother. Yeah. Trying to show you what a family of pigeons look like. Again, there are certain slight variations. You'll see some on just in the face. You'll see some got a little more swoop to their skull. Some are more of a wedge type face. But again, the rest of it, you're going to get that when you start fooling with lots and lots of pigeons. Okay, we're in another loft. It's a loft that I used to fly young birds out of. I got Lance. I'm showing Lance. I'm doing the videoing right now. All the birds in here, with the exception of one pair, I've got sold. I want you to see that the birds that I sell are extremely fine pigeons. I've got to ship these birds out here in the next couple of weeks. This is a small loft. I think I've got about 40 birds over here in this loft right now. If I get things going the way I want to in the spring, I may turn this back into a flying loft along with the other loft as well, or summertime. On the right hand side, that blue hen. Got her back from Africa, and there's her mate, this blue cock right here. He's looking out right now. That's the Maltese falcon. He's got an incredible eye on him. Again, we're just in here just to show you a few birds in another loft. These are birds that are all going to different places. They're going to Alabama and Arkansas, Texas, California, and Florida. I had a man recently email me from France that's interested in birds, Sions. Of course, that's kind of a compliment because that's where the Sions came from, or from France. I get emails, phone calls on a constant basis from people from all over the world wanting my Sions. Anybody that says that Sions are not popular don't know what they're talking about. It's one of the few families and strains of birds that have survived for 120 years. And it's done so, this group of birds, because Paul Sion developed them, kept them through his life. He died in 1946. And Charles Heisman had made 7 importations, 4 times from Paul and 3 times from Robert. Before World War II, he got his Paul Sions. And after Charles Heisman, I wound up with the Sions. So it's the life work of 3 people is what you're seeing. Beautiful blue cock. high quality pigeon, several years old. It's going to a man I know is going to love this bird. Gorgeous pigeon. There's nobody on earth wouldn't love that bird. Beautiful powder silver. Got a really nice long distance wing on her. Feathers all tied together and with the pointed type wing going more of a pointed direction. Feathers close together out on the wing. You want flights are slightly narrow, and you want them pointed for a good long distance bird. But at the same time, you want some lift back here. So it's a combination of, in nature, you're looking at the different kinds of birds that have the different characteristics because they've evolved to fly and survive the way they do. So we're trying to take something that's abnormal, a pigeon. It's really, pigeons throughout the world are not bred to fly. Most pigeons don't just get up and take off flying 600 and 700 miles in a day. So we're trying to create something a little extra with the pigeon. It's not normal for birds. We're trying to turn them into long distance birds, which is really not what that animal is all about. There's two types of breeding in the world. There's natural selection and not natural selection, selective breeding. You can cut through the chase a lot quicker with selective breeding. More of a red check instead of a red velvet. It tells me automatically if she goes back onto what I call my red pair, which had all four. I mean, this bird's out of hardcore, long wings, resolve, and Chattanooga. I know that without even looking at her pedigree. She will make a tremendous breeder for long distance for somebody. Where we started from, like a good book, a good story should always make a full circle. I got my eagle here from Alan Jones, my lifetime old Civil War friend. We've dug a Civil War relic together. Probably $1 million worth of stuff. It's all on the second floor of the museum over in Winchester, Kentucky, if anybody's interested in looking at it. It's getting late in the day. I'm wore out. Movie stars, they have to eat. So, like a good movie star, wait a minute, take another drink of my L8. Oh my goodness, you gotta have L8s. Oh, I'm ready to go now. And now, Lance has been good today. He can share some of these grippos. Man without a grippo, he ain't got a chance in this world. Oh my goodness. This is how you win pigeon races. You drink lots of L8, eat lots of grippos, and you're on the road to success. I got some notes that I want to go over. I don't know where all this stuff came in. Suddenly it's out of the blue. Got to cross the pigeon. Got to cross. No birds are any good if you don't cross them up. Any ding dong that's got any brains at all knows that when you've got a champion pigeon and you made it back to his daughter or something along that line, inbreeding or line breeding with that bird in some way, not with that particular bird, that's what you want. And you can even see it in the auctions. They'll say, oh, this bird is, inbred to that champion. Hell, that's the bird everybody wants. They don't want some birds crossed out of that champion. They want that inbred bird. Where's all this stuff about crossing pigeons coming from? I know. You'll see an example. Oh, this bird was crossed up. What about the billion that weren't crossed up? So much about crossing pigeons. But it's fine to cross them. It's good to experiment with birds. You do it with everything. So, nothing against crossing birds, but I think you're smarter to keep with the family and inbreed with birds. You've got a little more control on genetics, a little more predictability on what might possibly happen. We're working against ourselves with pigeons on trying to create
birds that are not when you're trying to breed a wing, that's much different than what the general bird is itself. There's only three things that's been scientifically proven about pigeons being able to come home, and it's the magnetic fields, the sun's position in the sky, and smell. All this other hoopla, the throat, there's a bird standing with his tails touching in the back, feathers on its leg, all this, I've been breeding pigeons so long, and I see so much come up at different times. You got to remember the origin of the racing pigeon, not to mention the origin of the pigeon itself. Our pigeons are dinosaurs. All birds are dinosaurs. Wings have evolved over the years, and certain birds do certain things, and so they have wings that allow them to do that. It's been a survival mechanism for them. So much for about wings. I hope that I've explained a little bit about it. But just study the wings of long-distance flyers. And then that might be what you want to try to breed for with a pigeon. Talking about when I was a boy, I had fantails and medinas, and I had every kind of pigeon there was at one time or another. But I fell in love with racing pigeons, and after I fell in love with them, it seemed like all the other pigeons that I looked at were garbage. One of the things too, people think that you can mix birds up a lot. I think if you take a large pigeon and you made it to a small pigeon, that you get medium pigeons. Well, I've done that before. I took a large pigeon, made it to a small pigeon, thinking I was going to get medium pigeons. I've done it many different times. And what you wind up getting is a lot more large pigeons than small pigeons. But you will possibly get one that's in between the two. If say you raise 10 birds, you might get one or two that might be more of a medium. Breeding pigeons is pretty fickle to some extent. It's not as logical as people think that it should be. If it was, then people just mating champions together, you'd have champions. And it doesn't always work that way. It seems like it works less that way for pigeons than it does for racehorses. On these videos, and I keep watching these guys tell me, now these are the top 5 strains. You got to get one of these birds. You got to get this Jansen, or you got to get this, whatever it is, or you're just not going to have any luck. My goodness. And or you'll have somebody that says, just something in steel, in blood. They want to make sure that that's exactly the way things are in racing pigeons. And things aren't like that in racing pigeons. And the more you fool with pigeons, the more you'll realize that. I've said this before, but I had a very fine man down in Florida tell me one time, Robbie said, the more you think you know about pigeons, in the long run you'll find out you don't know anything about them. And I've thought a lot about that, and there's a lot of truth in that. All I can say is I've had a lot of experiences with pigeons, and I've been lucky with pigeons. Winning all the races that I've won since I was a little bitty boy, all the way up to where I'm at now, in the shows and the races both. And I've been lucky. Been lucky in life and lucky with birds. And luck's had a lot to do with my birds coming back and stuff. Luck doesn't. You think, well, you can't be lucky if you're taking 1,500 first places. Luck, there's more to it than luck at that point. We wanted to show the birds today, and I hope you got to look at the birds. I wanted you to see how the quality of those Sions, the family of the heart. This is the flagship for all the Sions in the world today. What you saw today, anybody that says Sions, this is what you're going to be thinking of. Who has the best Sions in the world? No sweat. Those two words were never put together until World War II. You'll never find them in literature or anything else. In World War II, one of the bombardier pilots on one of the bomber planes said something to one of the men on the plane. He said, "No sweat." And they all kind of laughed about it on this plane. And so they started, every time they did anything on that plane during World War II, they started saying everything was no sweat. And then some of the other bombers that were in the same squadron, they started hearing those guys saying, "Well, everything's no sweat. Don't worry about it. No sweat. No sweat this. No sweat that." They even named one of the bombers No Sweat. You can go online and bring up No Sweat bomber in World War II, and you'll see No Sweat across the plane. That's where those two words originated. No sweat. They originated in World War II with bombers in the United States Air Force. It's a military term that caught on, And it's not a term, military term, but that's where it caught on. And then so it's where it's at today, and I am No Sweat. I had a person one time tell me, I don't like that name. I don't like that name, No Sweat. He was a prominent pigeon showman. I don't like that name. Hey, I don't think there's too many other people there's several catchy names out there, but the No Sweat name for me as a rider has been great. And for pigeons, it's been great. Everybody knows who No Sweat is. It's, you know, it jumps out at you. And I don't listen to what everybody else says. I never have in the sport. And that's one of my advice to most guys. Experiment on your own. Be creative on your own. There's too much believing in what somebody else says or does all the time. Catch out on your own. You know, if you're going to fool with pigeons, get a good group of birds and fly them yourself and find out on your own which of those birds is best. You don't have to listen to this guy say, "Oh, those birds aren't any good." You don't know until you try them. And and not all of them are going to be good. There's only going to be a few that's good any time. And the best way to find out your best birds is to take them a long, long way. I hope this video is something that you'll enjoy. And we'll be shooting some more. I got to have one more L8. This has been a rough day on me. Whew. Oh my goodness. I can't think of a better way to end a video.